Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're back. Another episode of the Pinnacle. Today we're
Welcome,
going to be
welcome.
discussing best sports to watch. I'm Zach Becka, aka Becka Beats, alongside my good friend Drew Piesel, the tier master himself, Position Theory. How are we doing today, bro?
Dude, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not. No complaints for me, bro. No complaints. I've been looking forward to this topic, man. I'm a sports enthusiast. You know what I mean?
Yeah?
So I enjoy watching sports on TV. I love being in the arenas. You know, when we're not in
hmm
COVID times. So, um, been looking forward to this podcast for sure.
I'm definitely a sports fan, probably not quite a sports enthusiast,
Mm,
but I'm still
mm.
excited either way. As Zach said, we're talking about sports, but for this episode, we're mainly going to stick to like mainstream sports. We will have another podcast where we'll talk about more so like the less popular sports.
Yeah,
The ones that, you don't think of immediately. So if we don't hear your sport talked about in this episode, don't feel bad. We'll definitely get around to it at some point.
for sure. So I think we should start this off talking about the different categories that we're going to talk about today. And so,
Mhm.
at least the categories that we had talked about or discussed or planned on was in person, on TV, playoffs. Playoffs is kind of a generic term, you know, and then
Mhm.
college level as well. So we should start with in person. So Drew, what is your favorite or favorites sports to watch when in person?
All right. I'm probably just gonna rank them
Mm-hmm.
because there's some that I like watching in person, and there's some that I can't watch in person.
Mm.
In person, I will say my favorite to watch in person is probably basketball, NBA. Favorite to watch in person. Like if you watch like professional sports on TV, there's always going to be like some things that you can get and that you can see, like like stats or statistics pop ups on screens, like sometimes special replays that you're not going to be able to get in person. But I
Mm.
feel like NBA in person, like you're not losing out on anything.
Yeah.
And I just really like watching basketball in person, even if it's not NBA. I'm a big college basketball guy as well. March Madness going on right now. My bracket, it's not doing the best, but that's all right. But yeah, so I would say NBA is number one. Number two is NFL football. Both on TV and in person is great, but in person is just really fun. As long as it's like an indoor arena, or if it's an outdoor, if it's nice weather. But I'm not a fan of 35-degree weather and watching football outside. Um, let's see. Up next, hockey. I would say I'm not a big hockey fan, but I would prefer to watch it in person rather than on a TV. But we'll say I enjoy that.
Interesting.
Um, And then one that I really don't like to watch in person is baseball. I don't mind watching baseball. I enjoy it here and there. I'll never seek it out really, but if it's on TV, I'll watch it if it's the Twins or something. But I don't like watching baseball in person because, especially if I'm in the outfield, because like I can't even tell if a pitch is like a strike or a ball or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just gotta wait until the players start moving to see what's actually going on. Whereas on TV, like you see everything in baseball. Like I actually much prefer watching baseball on TV because I feel like I get like a lot more detail about what's going on and like where the ball is, the strike count, the ball count, like right immediately. So let's see. I guess other big sports, I would say golf is probably another one, but that's one that I've honestly never watched in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Um, yeah, pretty much only watched it on TV, and even that I'm not a big fan. So golf is kind of hard for me to rate. But I would say those are the main ones. Am I missing any big?
Have you ever watched any tennis IRL?
Never watched tennis. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite sport to watch. But it's all right. I guess people don't want me to forget this one is soccer.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Um,
you can't forget about soccer.
Yeah, I would say I prefer to watch it in person. But soccer is another one where, there's no break in between the action, kind of like basketball. I would say, I mean, even less break between the action and soccer, because unless they go out of bounds or score. I would say I prefer to watch soccer in person. How about you?
Okay. I think are gonna line up pretty equally here. I'd say basketball is definitely my number one, and you're gonna notice a trend here. Mine's and then it goes hockey for me, and those two are at the tippy top for both, for most of these categories, just because I'm a low attention span type of dude. Like I need to be constant action. I don't like when there's a lot of stops, commercial breaks, shit like that. Just makes my attention just go away, and I just get bored really quick. So
Hmm.
those sports, like there's like I said, not a lot of stopping, constant action, and being in those arenas, especially like when they like in a hockey arena when they score a goal, like it gets really hyped really fast, you
Hmm.
know. But like it's kind of fun, you know. I don't know. I honestly might say I might prefer hockey a little bit more than basketball, but that's just because we got the trash ass Wolves in fucking Minnesota. So like, I've never been to a Wolves game where I've been like, wow, that was a great game to be at. Thank God I was there. Like, no, I've never said that. I've always been
I don't
like,
think anybody's ever said that about the Wolves.
like the Wolves games to me, I could watch on TV or in person, and it wouldn't make a big difference to me either which way. But I do enjoy watching basketball in person for sure.
Mhm.
And here's a surprising pick for me because later in the list or later in the other categories it'll be down the list for me. But football is probably like my third favorite to watch in person because there's not any commercials and it's like obviously when you're in person you're in the arena, it's a different kind of environment. I enjoy the environment of a football game. It's kind of fun, like it's a little rowdy, just enough rowdy. You can be a little
Yeah,
loud, you don't got to worry about people like throwing a hissy fit or something like that at a football game at least.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and so I mean then like you get to see the action. I would say my fourth pick is baseball. But and I was thinking about what you said, and that brought up an interesting point for me because I feel like in baseball the stadiums are so big, obviously, and I feel like that and out of all these sports, it really depends on where you sit and how good the experiences you're gonna have. Because I have
True.
sat like pretty like on like the first baseline, and that's been amazing. You know what I'm saying? You see all the
Mhm.
action. You're right on the. You can damn near hear the people talking on the field. Like that's it's a different experience than when you're sitting nosebleeds, upper deck, like you're not even gonna catch a ball, no nothing. Like and
Yeah.
you're just up there because it was a $5 ticket and you got a free hot dog. Like that's the only reason why they're sitting up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Pretty
like,
much.
but baseball, like I said, it's like a hit or miss though because like there are games where it's fun to be at, and then there are games where there's just no action, like it's a pitcher's duel, and
Mhm.
it's just like super boring. Like, it depends on the game. If you get two good teams, it's good to watch, but it can depend as
Yeah.
well. And I also I haven't been to a soccer, like a professional soccer game. I really want to
Mhm.
go to the Minnesota United game so bad
Yeah.
when things open up because it looks so dope in their stadium.
It
Um,
does look really nice. I
yeah,
haven't been to any games. I've only been to college soccer games. I've never been to a professional soccer game.
I think my only experience of being at a soccer game was in high school, and high school soccer games are pretty fucking boring. But
Yeah.
you know,
Especially our high school. We
y-
usually
for
the boys
sure.
team was not great when we were there.
I went to support the boys because I had a few friends on there, but other than that, I wasn't there to watch the sport. That's for sure. Um, but I mean, that's also kind of excuse me, can be kind of boring though. Even like how you said there's no stoppages though. Not, very rare. So there's
Mhm.
like a lot of stoppages. But like that is just like 90 minutes of just running around, you know what I mean? Like it can be kind of boring, especially when there's like no goals or like because
Yeah.
it's kind of common, not like super common, but if the game ends in 0-0, like what the I just came to
Yeah.
watch them run around the field for an hour, like an hour and a half. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Never watched golf IRL. Had an opportunity to do it, but I missed the putt. I missed the putt because it was like at this like training thing or whatever, and like they were like, if you
Mhm.
sink this putt, you get to go. And I was playing up against this other person, and we both missed like three in a row. And I was like, on the third one, I was like, no. And then like they hit it on their third one, and I was like, fuck. But that was like when like I think like the like women's PGA or something like that was coming through, and I was like, I was trying to
Oh
go to
yeah.
that. I've never been to, like I said, I've never been to a golf match or golf tournament or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I was like, yeah, it would have been dope to go and just check it out. Um, but I also would like to go to like a tennis match too, because I feel like those would be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any experience with that. I didn't even go to any tennis matches at our high school or anything like that. So
Hmm. I've been to one tennis match ever, and it was I think the freshman team,
mhm.
and so it was okay. You know.
Okay, so should we talk about on TV now? Any differences there?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of touched on some of these, but
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say on TV, just like in terms of the difference, like like I said before, baseball is night and day. Like I really enjoy watching baseball on TV, but in person, like I'm only ever gonna go to a baseball game if I'm going with friends. Like I'm not really going for the game at that point. But
Yeah.
on TV, like I like baseball, but I like basketball on TV. I like football because you just get such high quality like replays and all the overlays. You can see exactly where the first down marker is, like the line
Mm-hmm.
of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say those two are probably my top two. Football and basketball are definitely my favorite to watch on TV. Um, golf I don't mind when it's like the last day of the Masters or PGA Tour and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's pretty close between a couple people. But other than that, not a huge fan. And soccer and hockey. Uh, I mean, I should say this now. I'm not a huge fan of sports where so much time can go on without really anything of significance happening. So, like in basketball, you got a team scoring like every 30 seconds. Sometimes even faster than that. Like really frequent scoring. Football, like every single play, something is happening. Even if it's a 0 yard gain, like the down is count is going up by one. And so like there's something happening. Like the game is progressing. Whereas like you said, like a soccer game can end 0-0. And like that's 90 minutes where like sure there might be some hype shots on goal, but like when I'm 60 minutes into a soccer game and there hasn't been any scoring, I'm like, feel like I just wasted my time. And like I'm not a soccer player, and so I get that, people enjoy soccer more, but um it's the same thing with hockey as well. Like I went to University of North Dakota actually, wearing
Oh,
a
he's
UND
repping
shirt
it.
right
He's
now,
repping it.
repping it.
Yes, sir. I
And
like that.
people up there gave me crap because we had an incredible hockey team.
Yeah, yeah.
Like historically, probably the best hockey team in the
Yeah, I
nation.
was about to say one of the best in the nation.
Yeah, and I believe we're tied for NCAA championships. But I didn't go there for the hockey, and I don't like hockey. I went to like 4 hockey games throughout my 4 years, and I just never really enjoyed it. One thing I will say is in person, I think the atmosphere of hockey games is really hype. But on TV, I will never watch hockey. Same with soccer. On TV, it's just so boring for me with like the fact that you can go so long without having any scoring. Just not a fan of those on TV, but yeah, I would say, NBA, NFL, uh, MLB, even golf. Enjoy watching those on TV.
Okay, so goes NBA for me at the tippy top. Then baseball as well, because like I'm not even gonna try to reiterate the same points, but like it does. I enjoy watching baseball because you get all the angles on that. You know what I mean? And because like we were talking about, like where you sit makes a difference, and like you got the best spot in my opinion when you're watching it on your couch. You know what I mean? Because like you're not gonna not miss it. You're not gonna miss anything. You know what I mean?
Not gonna catch any balls there, but
unless you're sitting on your porch or something right behind Wrigley Field in the outfield or something.
hey, maybe.
I would say NHL is my third favorite, but it's gonna be different when we go to playoff time. But I mean, like I don't watch a lot of the regular season games, but I do occasionally like if it's like close game or it's two good teams. I like to watch the hockey games. They can still be intense, especially if it's like rival teams like the Minnesota Wild versus the Chicago Blackhawks. I can't stand the Blackhawks, so if you're a Blackhawks fan, I want to turn this podcast off. I don't want you here. No, I'm just playing. I'd say football for me is my fourth tier, but the thing is for me is it goes with, it's like the same thing. I forget which sport you were talking about, but I don't turn on the football until the fourth quarter if it's during the regular season, because for me
Really?
I'll like keep up to date with the score on my second monitor if it's the Vikes or it's like a good game, but I don't like. I can't sit there and watch 4 quarters of it because there's so many commercials. I lose my I just lose like my patience with it. I get uninterested pretty quick. Like I can definitely understand the argument that like it's building towards something. It's the next down. It's gonna be could be like a game changing play. The next play, you never know. But for me, I would just I'm gonna wait till the end of the fourth quarter to turn on the game and actually watch it if it's a close game.
I get that. The commercials are definitely a big downside for football on TV.
That I'd say that is literally my biggest grief, and the fact because they kick out the ball, boom, commercial. They go, they have they go down the field, they score a touchdown, commercial. Then they kick the extra point, oh, commercial. Like it's like what the fuck, like this shit's ridiculous.
Definitely.
It's like that's how much watching paid programming TV at that point. I'm not watching fucking sports. Then I have tennis on here. And I low-key enjoy watching tennis on TV. It can be pretty hype, but like I don't watch every match because that's why I have it down here. And I will only watch the final matches. But it can get pretty pretty intense. Like when they're going all out, like I respect it. You know, tennis is kind of a
Mhm.
you know that's an endurance sport, and it can go on
Oh
for like
yeah.
a long time if you're rallying back and forth. You know, so
Mhm.
I respect the hell out of it. You know, and it's a different type of game like mindset too because you know there's nobody. I mean, it depends on that. You know, if you're in singles or doubles or whatever, but you know, there's nobody else on that court besides you. And so like if
Yeah.
you screw up, you gotta like you know put yourself back and try to get back into it without like harping over that. So like I got a different type of respect for some tennis players, like because I think like you know you can be a team player and those team sports are like football, hockey, baseball, but like you it's just you know it's all on you in tennis. So no matter how good you perform, you know it's gonna be dependent on that. Shit, let me just turn off on my computer. I don't know what that was. And then I have soccer, and I don't like. I only watch soccer during the World Cup most of the time.
Mhm.
Um, but I do keep up to date on my little ESPN app when if something is going on, something crazy is about to happen. And then golf is probably far my least favorite. But like, I will literally only watch the 18th hole on the Masters, like to watch the dude see if he's gonna win it or not. If they go to a playoff or something,
Yeah.
you know, that's another thing where I just try to keep up to date with it on my phone, but like, I just could not watch golf on TV. Plus, the announcers don't make it any more fun. You know, they're and he's on the 14th hole. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is just
Yeah.
not all
Yeah.
that
It's kind of
enjoyable for
hard
me.
to make golf hype though.
No,
So
no, for sure. But they could definitely change the announcers a little bit.
I suppose, yeah, but
we,
I
we,
just think that's kind of the way that golf is. You know, it's more
no,
of
no,
like
you're
a
right.
calm, collected sport. It's not really the he just he just putted for an eagle. You know, the announcers are going crazy.
No,
I mean,
I
it's you know,
know.
it's quiet. You know, after they take the shot, you get the nice golf applause. Yeah,
No,
it's a
I
nice.
get it. I get it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like
Yeah,
it's not like for me. I'm an energetic person. I need to have my attention. I
yeah.
need there to be something to keep my attention, and like golf is just not it for me. But that's okay. You know, I still enjoy like I still like can see the value in it. It's fun to watch every
Mhm.
now and then.
Yeah. When I think of golf, I think of my dad taking a nap on a Sunday afternoon in front of the TV, and I walk through and golf is on, and I
Yeah,
stop and watch for like a couple of minutes before
I'm dead.
continuing on my way.
I'm dead. Okay, so should we talk about playoffs now?
Yes,
Okay.
because playoffs for me is a big deal,
Yeah.
depending on the sport.
It is for me too, because I think you know it changes the dynamic of when you're watching it. Like players are
Hmm.
going harder. You know, every possession matters at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. One sport. So this is kind of touching in getting into college versus professional a little early, but in the NBA, I'm not super into games in the regular season because you know they don't play you know as many as like baseball or anything, but um you know the games are rather inconsequential because they play so many.
Yeah.
And so any single individual game isn't like super important. Whereas in football, like you only play 16 games, although, you know, they're looking at moving into 17 now, which I don't know how I feel about that, but you play 16 games the regular season. So like every single game in the football season is like pretty important.
Yeah.
And so I can get a lot more like involved and, you know, care more about the individual game. Whereas in an NBA, I don't really care that much. And honestly, you can kind of see some of the players don't care that much. Like teams are often like resting their stars some weeks. And so,
Hmm.
you know, NBA regular season, I'm not a huge fan, but NBA playoffs is a whole different beast for me, especially when they start getting near the finals. I mean, that is some of the most exciting sports for me to watch. And then especially the NBA finals, it's right behind the Super Bowl. It's my favorite thing to watch on TV. Um, and so I really like NBA in the playoffs. NBA regular season, it's good, but I really like NBA because of the playoffs and following that every single year. And then things like baseball as well for the same reason as basketball. Like regular season, you play like what 100 something games, like 180 games or
I think
something.
yeah.
If you drop a game, it it doesn't mean nothing, but I mean it's really minimal.
Yeah.
And especially since you're playing the same team, like usually once or twice more in the same set. And so like regular season baseball, like I really don't care who wins or loses, but when you get into the playoffs, it gets pretty exciting, especially if you get some of those 7-game series later on.
Yeah, yep.
That can be really exciting. And then the World Series, of course, is always hype.
The World Series is
Um,
one of my favorite finals to
yeah,
watch. Like, go ahead though. I
yeah,
don't interrupt too much.
definitely. No, yeah, for sure. And then I would say tennis. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't follow tennis at all, so I couldn't even tell you the difference between regular season and playoffs. I'm pretty sure they typically just do tournaments like
I was gonna
golf.
say it's just like the U.S.
Um,
Open or like whatever.
yeah, and so I don't really have much of an opinion on that. I would just say it's more fun to watch when it's closer to the finals because there's more on the line. Um, golf, same thing as tennis. Soccer, I really only actually care during the World Cup. Like, even though I'm not a soccer fan, I'll still watch it during the World Cup, especially if it's the finals. Um, but yeah, let's see. Am I missing any here?
No, no, no. I think that's pretty
So,
good.
all right, yeah, that's my thoughts on playoffs versus non-playoffs, I guess.
So let me ask you a question here. So what do you think of the fact that like the NBA finals from last year, the COVID finals, had like the lowest like ratings out of all of the like finals for like I don't know, I don't remember the statistic, but it's like for a long time. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Like what do you make of that?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a variety of factors. I know a lot of people have been kind of upset with the NBA's approach to different things. I'm not going to get into too much of the drama,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
there's been a
yeah.
lot of people who were, unsatisfied with how the NBA handled certain things and how they went about certain things. And so I definitely think that that contributed to a significant drop in the ratings. But I also think a significant drop in the ratings was caused by the fact that it was COVID and the
Yeah.
fact that like they didn't have fans in the arena. And so like sports in general just kind of felt a little more distant this year
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people couldn't go to the events. And so even though it's, watching it on TV, it looks pretty much the same. Like you can see the stands are empty and it's like, people aren't really there. And so I think people just didn't get as invested in the teams. Um, and so I think those two reasons were the main reasons. I think we'll definitely see a recovery this year. Not saying we're going to break any records
Yeah,
for
I was
ratings,
about to say time for bold prediction time, Drew.
but yeah, I mean that's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
I kind of agree. I think it's kind of a shame because I mean it was LeBron, you know what I mean? Like LeBron is kind
Yeah.
of a good story. Like I don't know. I mean, plus like I enjoyed the bubble. I feel like the bubble was fun and entertaining to
Oh
watch.
yeah.
Like and like you got to think about the like I mean I talked a little bit about the mental strength of tennis players, but like to be in a bubble like away from your family for so long, like um you gotta show some strength in that, you know what I mean? And like to also to be playing like that, I don't know. It's a totally different setting, and like people weren't used to that. So I think it brought
Yeah.
out the best in some players and it brought out the worst in some players as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it made it interesting. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I was like kind of I mean I was kind of shocked at the fact that like the ratings were down because I figured that sports would be doing better because more people would be in quarantine or like there's more people, more
Yeah.
eyes are going to be on the TV is what I'm saying. Like and plus sports had been gone for a while, so like and the NBA just normally draws in like a huge audience, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I mean, like you said, there's been some controversial things that the NBA has gone through in the last like year or two, so that
Mhm.
plays a factor as well. Um, all that being said, though, I'm gonna start on my playoff list. So I got NHL at the tippy top. I love fucking playoff hockey. That's my favorite. It does not fucking matter. They just go hard as hell. Like, and the hits are harder. The goals are crazier. But like sometimes there's those greasy goals that are like they're just like they trickle in. They're hockey goals. You get some puck
Mhm.
luck to it, and like those ones matter if anything more so than like those crazy goals too. Because like if you're down and you just need to get some momentum going, like you score a puck luck goal and then boom, it's game changer. Like get the crowd back into it.
Mhm.
I love watching playoff hockey. By far my favorite. Second one being the NBA though, and for all the same reasons that we've been discussing. But this is where I said my list is different. Football is my third favorite for playoffs, and I don't like watching on TV that much, but playoffs makes it different. I still won't. I guess it depends on the matchup, but some matchups I won't watch the whole game. Some of them I will. Like maybe especially like
Mhm.
towards the Super Bowl and like the conference finals they call it or whatever the round before them.
Yeah, that would be the championship. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
for
yeah,
Super
yeah,
Bowl?
yeah, yeah. The
AFC and the NFC
Yep, yeah,
championship
yeah,
game.
NFC and AFC championship. I like to watch those games, But like the divisional round, depending on the matchup, I might not watch some of them. It depends.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like the hits are harder, players are going harder, the stakes are higher, and it makes
Hmm.
me feel like it actually matters more because, like, I mean, obviously it does, but what I'm saying is like it's more intense from down to down. Even though,
Hmm.
like, we say like it matters in the regular season, and for a lot of teams it does, but like it's not quite as intense.
Yeah.
For me
And
at
it's
least.
especially the thing that I like about football, about like watching the games, is like you only play one game against that team, and you lose, you're out. Like
No,
whereas
that
like
yeah,
football, hockey, basketball, like in the playoffs, like it's a best of series. So even
yeah,
if you like you start slow, you have one bad game where you just get unlucky. You can still come back. Whereas football, you get unlucky and have a couple bad plays, couple turnovers. I mean, that might be the game. It doesn't matter how good you are. You
right,
slip up too much, that's it. And so
yeah.
I definitely like the weight that playoffs has in NFL.
That's the thing. Like I think about the sports a lot, and I'm like, football is a game of like not making mistakes, but it's
Hmm.
so like crucial in the playoffs because one mistake could literally end your season. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's make or break time, and that's why I like to watch playoff season or playoff footballs in particular. Baseball, even though I said the World Series is still probably one of my favorite to follow, just because I grew up watching baseball. I played baseball my whole life. I love like the 7 game series of baseball, and like watching the World Series is amazing. And like I always love to watch like the last couple at bats. Like it's
Hmm.
intense. You know what I mean? The crowd is into it. Everybody's into it. Like especially on a game like a game like to win the World Series if you're at home. The whole crowd is on their feet the entire time. You know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
just like this, I don't know, like this, and like I feel like the reactions in baseball too from like the crowds, like the sounds of the game, like it makes it more entertaining to watch. It makes me get into it. And then soccer, I still like to watch World Cup. I like to watch the final match.
Hmm.
But I'm not good like the type of person to watch every match every day. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean it's fun to watch, but like I said, I don't like. I'm not particularly fond of soccer that much. It's why it's on my last tier here.
Hmm.
I mean, we could talk a little bit about tennis. Like I said, I like to watch. I only really watch the tournaments. But I mean, and I don't even watch that much of the tournaments. Like if it's on at the gym, I like to watch it because I'm like, damn, this shit's
Hmm.
dope. Like I don't get a chance to watch much of it. But yeah, and then golf. Like I said, I only watch like the last round of the Masters, so that's probably about it.
Hmm.
All right, talk about college, Drew.
Yeah. So I'll probably go through like my preference for each sport. Um, because this one might surprise some people. I'll start with basketball because I actually prefer, with the exception of playoffs, I prefer watching a college basketball regular season game over an NBA regular season game because I mean, for some of the reasons I talked about before, like I feel like NBA players don't always necessarily try as hard in every single regular season game, and it's intentional because they don't want to overexert themselves. Whereas I feel like in college basketball, like almost every single game, like these guys, like you know, a lot of the good teams are trying to get noticed, and so they're trying their butt off every single game. And I also think that there's more variance in terms of who's going to come out on top in a college basketball game. Like, I mean, we look at 2 years ago in March Madness. By the way, I love watching March Madness. One of my favorite times. Um, like 2 years ago, we saw a 16 seed take down a 1 seed. Like, if the NBA was structured like that, where there's, 4 sets, where there's 4 1 seeds, 4 16 seeds, I think we would never have an NBA team where the 16 seed takes down the 1 seed. Just because I think at that level of play, like they're so good that the expectation of an NBA game is often a lot more predictable than a college game. Like going into an NBA game, I feel like you're more likely to know who's going to come out on top beforehand, just by knowing who the better team is. Whereas in college, like, yeah, you can still make that same prediction, but I think there's more variance in terms of like a bad team or like a team that's not as good showing up more and like a better team underperforming. So just in terms of like the variance and the competitiveness in the college scene, I prefer to watch college basketball, especially in March Madness. I got Gonzaga winning it all this year, which it's not exactly a surprise. They're pretty heavy favorites,
Yeah,
but
yeah, they're number one
I
seed,
think
aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I think they're gonna pull it out though. I mean, they just look so good this year. So that's basketball.
Wait, let me respond to that.
Yeah,
We'll just go back and forth here.
yeah, that's
So
a good idea.
yeah. So I think for most of my preferences for regular season games, I'm still gonna watch NBA most of the time. But there are aspects of college basketball that I really do like. One of the biggest things though is watching is the zone that they play in college basketball compared to man on man in most of the NBA games, because it's different. You know what I mean? It's gonna force them to play different, and they're going to take a lot of jumpers, you know what I mean? Or it's either going to take a jumper or they're going to try to drive to the rack, and they're going to get swatted by a big man most likely. And also there's a lot more passion in the college basketball game. Like when they slam it, like them boys getting into it, and the whole crowd's into it, the bench is into it. Like
Oh yeah.
I enjoy watching a college basketball game. I still prefer the NBA. Even I do recognize that there are a lot of players who don't try their hardest, you know what I mean? And sometimes they're load managing at Kawhi Leonard. But you know what I mean? I still like the NBA just because it's the top tier. But I do enjoy watching college basketball. March Madness is also fun. I mean, I also I don't know, I like watching the underdog teams. A few years ago, remember Florida Gulf Coast University? They came out of nowhere. They were out there jumping out the gym and shit. The stories, those were all walk-on players. Not one of them had a scholarship. I don't even think they could even, I don't. This could be wrong, but but I thought they said that Florida Gulf Coast didn't even have any scholarships available for basketball. So literally everybody was a walk-on player. And then they're out here booming out motherfuckers in the tournament. It's just hype as hell.
Yeah.
I do enjoy watching March Madness. I'm not a bracket kind of guy just because I don't watch it that much. So I feel like I would just be wrong as hell. I'd be picking the favorites or whatever.
I mean, I'm wrong all the time. Believe me, I've literally only seen just a handful of college basketball games this year, but I still enjoy making a bracket, and it's easy, it's inconsequential. Just,
yeah.
Throw my bracket.
No, I get that. I get that for sure. I mean, I do a mental bracket. I'm looking at the matchups. I'm like, oh, who's gonna win it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my dad is crazy big into March Madness. He called me the other day. I'm like, what you gonna be doing on Saturday, bro? I might try to slide by, and he's like, basketball, baby. I'm like, whoa, what? NBA? He's like, March Madness. What you mean? I'm like, all day? He's like, all day. I'm like, yes, sir. I might have to slide by for a little bit. I'm dead. You want to talk about? Okay, what else? What sports should we do next, bro?
Let's go NFL next. NFL, honestly, I much prefer professional NFL instead of college football.
Ooh.
I like watching college football, but unless it's a bowl game, I'm really not going to get that invested in it. I'm kind of the same way for the NFL as you are for the NBA. In terms of it's the highest level of play, and players are just so good. Whereas I feel like in college football, sometimes I watch them and this isn't true at all, but I watch them and I'm like, how did they not catch that? Because I'm so used to watching NFL where they're the best of the best. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's still competitive, and I would say there's actually more variance in college football than there is in college basketball. But I just prefer watching the NFL just because it's the highest level of play, and people are just so good, and they can make these incredible catches and incredible runs, these spin moves, these tackles. I mean, it's all just so quality.
I'm gonna have to disagree, bro. I definitely prefer to watch college football over NFL games, and I'm kind of inclined here because I played a lot of the NCAA football games when that was a big franchise or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoy the identity and the I don't know, the I'm blanking on the word here, but it's essentially just the team, the ownership of the team, and the whole spirit. I like the team spirit aspect of college football. And I like College Game Day. Have you ever seen College Game Day on ESPN? They've always been getting excited.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's hype, and I mean for me, I enjoy watching college football when the Gophers are doing well. You know what I mean? But I mean,
which is not very often.
I mean, but when they do, though, I was into it. Last year, I think, or 2 years ago, I think it was. They had a chance to go, deep, and then they still beat Auburn in the Fiesta Bowl. I think it was, or I can't remember what bowl it was, but it was Outback Bowl. I can't. But they beat Auburn, and that was super hype. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that the quality isn't nearly as good as the NFL, but They're still like, I don't know, I like the lower. I don't know, I kind of like that it's like not as like super like. I mean, it's obviously it's super competitive, but it's not like super like like I don't know. It's hard to explain. I guess I'm kind of just not really saying anything here. I like college
I get.
football for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I like it too. Don't get me wrong. I just
Yeah,
prefer NFL, but I definitely went to a lot of college football games in college for sure.
I actually never been to a college. I didn't go to not a single college football game for me, and I kind of regret that because I went to the University of St. Thomas. If anybody who doesn't know who's listening, and we like have this Tommy Johnny game, and that's always like a big deal against this other private college in Minnesota. And one year, they always do it at like the big stadium. So we had it one year at the Target Field, which is where the Twins play. And then my senior years, it was at the Allianz Field, and I didn't still go. I regret that one probably the most because that would have been like a great opportunity to go check out the field, like to go and be there, But I didn't get to it, so I still kind of regret that. But it's all good. A big college football guy, game day dude over here to my left over here.
All right.
You want to talk about
Should we
hockey?
do? Yeah, let's do hockey.
Okay, I'll take this
Um,
one real quick.
yeah. Go ahead.
I think I definitely prefer the NHL for sure. Like just because I mean we're gonna go back to it. Like we're gonna say the same things, but it's just the highest level of quality. But I mean when it comes down to like the big tournaments though, to watching the tournament play for college hockey can be pretty interesting.
hmm
And I also really do like that collegiate level is the women's and men's hockey. You know what I mean?
hmm
So it gives me like a double dose. You know what I'm saying? I can watch a little men's, I watch a little women. You know what I mean? Like it's more to it than just the men playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, for hockey, I mean, partially because I'm really not a big hockey fan to begin with, I'm relatively indifferent. I like watching both professional and college. Um, it's hard for me to really even pick a preference. Like in terms if it's two teams that I'm like not familiar with, I would probably rather watch hockey for the reasons you said. Just higher level of play.
You mean NHL?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all good. It's all good.
But I will prefer to watch college if it's like University of North Dakota, just because I'm more invested, or if it's the Gophers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I prefer to watch UND or Minnesota college hockey over pretty much any NHL team, except maybe the Wild. They're doing pretty good this year.
There.
But yeah, I mean, I'm fairly indifferent, so really not a huge preference one way or the other for me.
I've been to like two college hockey games, and they're fun to be at for sure. I went to one; it
hmm
was the U of M with my dad once, and then I went to one up in UMD. And that was
hmm
also pretty fun. I was in the student section for that one. And that was a lot of fun. I don't have a whole lot of experience watching too much of college hockey, but like I said, I still probably prefer NHL for sure.
hmm
Was it soccer? Just the last one we got left, or soccer and
We got
baseball?
soccer, and baseball, and then I think we can pass on golf because I've never seen college golf even be on TV. So
No, 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 no. I mean, maybe on some YouTube live stream type shit, but
yeah,
like not on any major news network or anything like, or a major
yeah.
sports network.
I should do soccer.
Yeah, I'm fine with soccer. You want to go ahead first?
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the same way for hockey. I'm probably going to be repeating myself here, but hockey and soccer are probably two of my not my least favorite sports to watch, but in comparison to these others, are definitely don't enjoy watching it as much. So I would say soccer pretty much the same way. If it's the World Cup, obviously I'm going to be cheering for the U.S. I'll get invested in that game. But if it's Sweden versus Belgium, I probably couldn't care less. But if it's a college game and it's UND or the Gophers are playing or like some other team I know, yeah, I'll be more invested. So the line is pretty blurred between professional and college enjoyment of soccer for me.
Um, I think for me, I'm still gonna prefer to watch like the professional soccer, but I
Mhm.
will say though, I'm pretty sure that they have international college like tournaments, like it's like the U.S. It's like the youth. It's like youth, is what they say, but it's like
Mhm.
the non-professional. Those are kind of interesting to watch. I probably would. I haven't watched it, but I think if they would have that on TV, I probably would watch that as well. Just because I don't know, it's like an international tournament. You know what I mean? It's a little more interesting. It's the best people. It's best people from around the world who are not, in the professional aspect of it. So I would probably watch that. But I'm still probably picking the World Cup over that for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much college baseball you've watched, but I have not. I'm be honest. I probably watched the Little League World Series before I watched college baseball much. To be honest with you,
the only time I think I've ever seen college baseball being played was when it was on TV at the gym, and like that's about it. And usually I'm like, oh, probably haven't even heard of those teams, so I really can't say that much about it. I would for sure, if I had to pick, for sure pick watching the MLB over college though, just because the same points that we said. It's the highest level. They're gonna hit it the furthest. They're gonna throw it the fastest. They're gonna run the fastest. So just more fun to watch.
I'm in agreement with you. I don't think much of it has to be said about that because, like you said, but I just don't have that much experience watching college baseball. So I mean, I don't want to offend any of the college baseball fans out here. So don't come at us. But if I had maybe some more exposure to it, I might be more interested in it. But I'm just not that much into it.
Yeah, and then golf. Yeah, I don't think it's even broadcasted, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think so, bro. I don't even think the Golf Network would carry that. The Golf Network put on some other trash or some other. Oh, I should say trash. Put on some other program or something else besides college.
And honestly, the thing about golf is like it's a relatively hard sport to broadcast because you got to have the cameras following each of the holes. And in college, usually they just don't have like the money or the resources to invest in that. So I don't really blame networks for not broadcasting college golf because I'm sure it's just not recorded to begin with quite as much.
And then you have to get the commentators over it, and there's some production into it. So
yeah, it's a tough sport to broadcast, really.
For sure, bro. That's all I got on my list, Drew.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for me. Just recap. Favorite sports to watch, definitely football and basketball. Always has been, probably always will be. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of other sports we didn't get into here, but I think we could have another podcast where we cover some more of the fringe ones, like swimming, lacrosse, cricket maybe.
Ooh, lacrosse is kind of fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I got from me. You got any final thoughts?
Quick little recap for me. Definitely basketball and hockey for sure. Like those are the far. But for playoffs, it's a little bit more complicated. But for most part, it's gonna if it's basketball or hockey, I'm happy. But everything else just can't keep my attention if it's during the regular season. To be honest, not nearly as much as those two sports. But no, I just appreciate your time, Drew. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I got the new overlay. I hope everybody enjoys the new overlay.
Dude, I just gotta shout that out, man. It looks so clean, so good.
I appreciate that, Drew. I'll let our editors know and our producers know that they appreciate it.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Pinnacle podcast. We hope to see you guys back next week. Take it easy.
See you.